Hi Michael, here's my submission for the competition for following 10,000 subscribers. Um, I've decided to have a go because it gives me an opportunity to talk about something I really enjoy talking about. Hopefully to some people who are interested. So, classical music to start off with. This was probably the most difficult because I've just over the last few years got a pretty huge, unmanageable collection of classical music, and I think this stems from discovering a local bookshop had a cellar absolutely packed full of thousands of second-hand classical vinyl records from the 50s to about the 90s. And yeah, I wasn't particularly into classical music, but you know, when you got something like that, you get involved, and I discovered Decca Records, and yeah, that's my thing. Um, I don't just have Decca Records, but the one I've chosen in the end is one, and I just decided to show you a record that I just go to a lot because it's beautiful. It's a Decca offshoot, um, and it's by the Melos Ensemble. A kind of collaboration between a lot of solo stars who were starting to regularly work together on some of the lesser played small chamber pieces, and because I think that's really where my taste has ended up. Those pieces of music, whether they just suit my stereo or my tastes, or I don't know, but that's where I tend to get drawn. Um, so this is selection four French composers, all around the same sort of period, all really sort of uh, dominated by strings plus flute and harp. I mean, they're all lovely. And the real star of the piece, though, has to be the introduction and allegro. This is a very favoured version by the Melos Ensemble, and deservedly so. Um, and it's just beautiful. It's this sort of very fragile, delicate piece, with the interweaving of the harp and the flute. It's just gorgeous. It's a piece I return to again and again. Um, and I've got the stereo and the mono versions. I mean, the stereo is great. It's a Ken Wilkinson production, and he's done a great job of a very naturalistic chamber soundscape with the harp on the right. But from what I found out about Introduction and Allegro, um, is that Ravel was commissioned to do this piece to showcase the harp. It was in response to a new type of harp that Debussy was commissioned to write a piece. I think it's Sacred and Profane or something like that. And rival harp makers of the old-fashioned style commissioned their own piece from Ravel to show how brilliant their harp was. And so it kind of makes a lot of sense to play it through mono, because you've got just the harp in the centre as the star of the piece. But either version, it's a very affordable, brilliant piece of music. So that's classical. And now a complete change with heavy piece of music, and yeah, so I have to go back quite a long way really to find something appropriate. yeah, just this. Need I say more? White Like White Heat by the Velvet Underground. I was very lucky to discover the Velvets at the perfect time, which is teenage years. Worked my way through the 4 studio albums, then the live albums. Read the Victor Bockris Uptight book. Started wearing black for a while, and of course got all my mates to listen to these records, and we were all the right age, and everybody loved this stuff. And for a very brief moment, I was almost cool. Very fleeting moment. But this record is still great. This version I got is the mono from the box set. I'd never get rid of my original Polydor version for sentimental reasons, even though it's got this weird white cover with soldiers on for unclear reasons. It's just awesome. The Sister Ray is unforgettable. But I heard her call my name. It's Here She Comes Now. All of these, they're just great. I'd say the mono I slightly prefer, because mono just has a slightly stronger sonic attack. So which is perfect for this, and this tends to be, it tends to be the Velvets that I'll turn to if people are out of the house, and so I don't get into trouble for cranking the stereo up. I'll bung one of these on. So moving on to the foreign records, I've gone for foreign language, and I've got a very small but rather bizarre Japanese collection. So I've gone for this, which takes me back to the 1990s, buying VHS anime cassettes to watch, and Bubblegum Crisis. That was the best. Got the full set of that. It had a brilliant soundtrack as well, and it was all about mecha suits, and had this mixture of Japanese 80s pop songs combined with other more instrumental tracks, very synth based, very much inspired by Vangelis and Blade Runner, as was this series. Really, there were quite a lot of clear, direct influences. Great series, great record, and even you get these, as typical with the Japanese pressings, you get these lovely inserts as well. This one's got all kinds of mecha toys and pictures. Lovely. I think the next category was records, artists that you've got into purely through record collecting, and there's been quite a few of those to choose from. I kind of been thinking about this, and I'd drawn back to the bookshop where I started my classical collecting. They also had upstairs a collection of 78s, and they were awful. They were sort of military bands and light popular tunes of the times. Had a look through them, desperately trying not to break any of them, and couldn't find anything. But then this box turned up with what I'm guessing was some guy's tiny jazz collection. And I had a look through those, and there was great selection. I think I bought about a third of that box. And in a way, I wish I'd bought some more. Yeah, they're not in great condition, but there was a lot of gems in there, and this one is a peach. This one, Brunswick 78. I, because the papers, well, I think actually it was just cardboard sleeves. You sometimes get them in very delicate paper sleeves, so I've just replaced that. It's got a few nicks on, but definitely very playable. And because I got a Lenko, which I pretty much play everything on, I can play the 78s on there. And yeah, this one then is by it's Rosetta Howard, and I was stunned by Rosetta Howard. Her record is called "If You're a Viper," so I bought it. Um, Admittedly, you have these dubious terms for some of these, because this is a repressing, and this was called the Sepia series. Very dubious, but basically, in those sort of terminologies, you pretty much know if you get a record that you're likely to be onto a winner, and this is an absolute winner. So, If You're a Viper by Rosetta Howard, I get it cleaned up, put it on the record, and I discover what a viper is. In that she first lyrics are dreamed about a reefer 5 foot tall, and yeah, so this is a great record because it's a very early stoner record. It was a reaction to US government pressure on jazz musicians about what they were smoking for recreation, and I think it was Stuff Smith, I think is his name. He wrote this record, but yeah, Rosetta's done the probably the seminal version of this. She gets the tempo a bit more slowed down. She changes a few of the lyrics, and it's a very, very funny record about the ups and downs of reefer, and it's a jaunty little song, and yeah, I love it. She It's very unlikely, unfortunately, that I'm going to come across another Rosetta Howard piece of shellac, because it sounds great. But yeah, there are CD options. She didn't produce a lot, so I can get all of her work on one CD. But this is something special because that's what collecting's all about. When you just pick up something and discover something fantastic. So I think the next category is CDs that you'd love to be in to get a vinyl copy of. And yeah, I have got a very good candidate for this, certainly for me. It actually comes from that box set. Those came out, I think, about 10 years ago. There were tons of these classical collections. And because I'd got into Decca by that point, I thought that I would, they were very cheap, and it was a good way to get familiar with other bits, just in case for buying stuff on the internet, if there was a really great classical album, to get the vinyl version. But my main discovery was actually a bit more left field. It was this one, Utelemper. The CD is Berlin Cabaret Songs, and it was great. These, as they're saying in the side bit, it was they did a small collection of forbidden music, and this one was music repressed by the Third Reich, and it's sort of Weimar Republic era German cabaret songs, played by a small jazz ensemble, very much the sort of German cabaret kind of period. They really well played. It's sort of Brecht, Weill kind of atmosphere to them, and the content of what these songs were about were quite a mixture of about corruption, about how boring middle class bourgeoisie mores are, about the rise of fascism, songs about Hitler, songs about sexuality, and yeah, all of this as soon as the Third Reich got in, yep, gone. But the the first thing I really wanted to do was, once I'd heard this, was get a vinyl copy, and there just weren't any, because this is in German language. Although there is I understand one in English, but there's so much lost in that. So I did get another CD just because this didn't include the lyric translation. So that builds on this. But the other thing that I just think is great about this is Ute Lemper's vocals. They're just incredible, and I think it's this mixture of her incredible vocal range, combined that she comes from an acting background as well, so she it's very much a performance, and these strange noises that come out of her, these sort of growls and giggles and snorts, and yeah, I mean, the whole vocal thing just absolutely does my head in, to quote the Bonzo Dog Band. And it's a real shame that this isn't, as far as I know, on vinyl. And yeah, I don't think Decca are listening, but if they were, I'd be saying to them, I know you're getting back into doing a bit of vinyl, and how about giving the rights of the SXLs back to Speaker's Corner, because they're doing a great job, and why don't you do something like this, because this really deserves to be on vinyl. It's wonderful. So just to finish off, you wanted a little bit of a kind of editorial response, well, letters response, and I'm pretty new to your channel, and I've been drawn into my particular interests, which include the stuff on classical and Decca, but also I have been delving into the Pacific postcards because of I went through a mini phase of sort of an area of Japanese group sounds, mainly because of these absolutely awesome compilations, Nippon Girls and Nippon Girls 2, and I think it was compiled by Sheila Bergel, I think her name is, and she just did a wonderful job. I think she was a collector herself of the vinyl, and she really knows her stuff, and these are really dynamic, thoroughly enjoyable pop songs. Great stuff, to the point that yeah, I had to go at doing the same as her, of trying to get hold of some of these beautiful 7-inch. I think the main ones I got were Jun Maizumi's. I think they seem to be a little bit easier to get hold of, and they're just beautiful objects. I mean, I think these ones, they're not all, but a few of them are the sort of really pretty 7-inch red vinyl with the, you have to get by a spacer as well. They all seem to be missing those. But yeah, what I my own reaction so far to that series is it's a little bit male dominated. Seems to be quite more the sort of rocky side of that 60s movement, and I think you do say that you're going to do some more. So what I'd be saying is, let's hear from the girls. Let's hear from the pop music side, if you know, if that interests you, because this is great stuff. I mean, you may well be planning to do it anyway, because I'd love to learn some more about this area. It was just too expensive, I think, for me to get hold of these. But I mean, those CDs, they are really, you know, they've got hold of the master tapes, and you know, I don't think my CD collection, my CD system's anywhere near as good as my vinyl, but yeah, those CDs sound great anyway. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. If you are going to do any more postcards, let's hear from the girls. Okay, that's those are my answers, and yeah, I look forward to hearing some more from your channel in the future.